Hey coach, let's get your Facebook group up and running, shall we? So for some of you, this might be creating a Facebook group from scratch. For others, it might be taking a group you've currently got and configuring it in the right way so that it's going to work for your Facebook content funnel. So let's just remind ourselves of that funnel. We're going to be creating social posts. We're looking for engagement. We're then going to take that to DM chats. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is trying to look to either secure that then as a strategy session from a chat, or we're going to look to push people into our Facebook group where we're going to nurture them further. And when they first apply to join the Facebook group, they're going to get asked some questions. And these questions are going to, first of all, validate that they're the right audience. And then we're also going to ask if they want to opt in to get emails from us. And we're also going to ask whether they want a strategy session. So this Facebook group becomes our main part of the funnel. We're attracting interest in, and this is where we're going to start really nurturing inside our funnel. So in essence, what we're looking at is this. Engagement comes in, we take it to a DM chat. The chat will either go into a strategy session or we'll be asking them to come into the group. So as you can see, having this Facebook group is key to this content funnel that we're going to be using. Now there's lots and lots of videos out there on how to create a Facebook group. In fact, you could probably just figure it out yourself, but there are specific configurations when setting a Facebook group up which are of massive importance. This is going to determine whether it works correctly for you or not. And we want it working right because at the end of the day, this is going to be the key way that we're going to be nurturing our audience. So we're going to look at the types of content that you put into your group a little bit later on. But for now, let's look at how to set up your Facebook group properly. So first things first, we're just simply going to go to Facebook on our desktop. Now, it is worth mentioning that it's an awful lot easier to follow this click-by-click guide if you are doing it on a desktop. Doing it on a mobile or on a tablet device, it's going to do it via the app and the clickables are in different places. So please follow along on a desktop version. And the first thing I want you to do is to look on the left-hand side and you'll see groups. And this is where you would normally look at any groups that you've already joined. You could look at groups that you already manage. You can go and discover other groups. So let's say that I was interested in a group for coaches. I could search for the word coaches and it would bring back a list of groups that it thinks are relevant. It tells me a little bit of information such as the number of members, roughly how many posts there are a day or a week. And it's a great way of seeing what groups are already out there that are perhaps on a similar topic to the group that you're going to create. So I'm just going to go back again into groups. And now I'm going to assume that I'm going to create a brand new group. So I'm going to click Create New Group. And the first thing it's going to ask me for is the group name. Now, the best guidance I have for you at this stage is to consider what people will be searching for or looking for who are your target audience. So if you are a coach who helps with fulfillment at work, then you might want to be searching for some of those terms. You might want to be thinking they're the sorts of things that people are going to search for. So you might want to put that in your name. If you're like I am, a coach who helps other coaches attract clients, then I would probably want to put something about client attraction, coaching business setup. Those are the sorts of things that people would want to be searching for. So those are the sorts of things I'd put into the group name. If you've created an effective help statement, you've already identified your target audience, your problem, your desire, outcome, and things that they don't want. So pulling together some of those things into your group name so it's reasonably short and concise would be fantastic. So let's say that I'm creating a group, then I would probably do something like Women 50 plus, master your weight loss. Okay, so that would be short and sweet, and that's going to attract women of a certain age, your avatar, and the problem or challenge they currently have. The next thing I want to consider is the privacy of the group. So with Facebook groups, there are two types of privacy. This is all about the members and the posts that sit within the group. So do you want the general public to be able to see who's in the group and the posts that are in the group without actually being a member of the group? Well, it's something Facebook allows you to do, but when we're using it as a nurture funnel, we want it so that people can see how many people are in the group, but they don't get to see who or what's been posted unless they're a member of the group. So the option that we want to select is the privacy being private. That means that only members can see who's in the group and what they post. And then the next option is all about the visibility. So if you remember earlier when I searched for different terms and it brought back a list of groups that met those terms or were similar to those keywords, they are visible groups. They're groups that are publicly visible and not hidden. And you have those two options. You can have it a group that people can find, anyone can find the group, or you can have it hidden. So only members can find the group or people that you send the link to. Now, really, you want this to be discoverable. You're going to control who comes into the group anyway via questions, and they have to apply to join the group. So you absolutely want this to be discoverable. When people search for certain keywords, you want your group to come up as an option for them. So for that purpose, we're going to select visible. Anyone can join the group. So at this stage, we've given it a name. We've chosen that it will be private, so the members and the content within the group, only members will be able to see that, not the general public. But we are going to have it listed publicly so that other people can see it and then ask to join. You can also invite friends at this stage, but we're not going to do that right now. So I'm going to create the group. So now I've created the group. The group exists. This group is now going to be listed. It's not going to have a banner. It's not going to have any content. And to be honest, there are loads of things at this stage that you now want to go back and configure to make it set up as a per Facebook group that you're going to use as your content funnel to nurture clients. So even though it's now live, I would not necessarily start inviting people in right at this stage. So let's look at some of the things that we now need to configure in order to get it working correctly. So once your Facebook group has been created, you can always get back to your group. If we just go back again now to the main Facebook page, now when you go into groups, it will always show you the groups that you are an admin of. So you can now see that I've now got women 50 plus mastery or weight loss. As soon as I go in, I see it differently than the general public or people wanting to join see it. Because I'm an admin, nobody else sees this stuff that's on the left-hand side of the screen. That's just for me as an admin. So there's a few things that we could do at this stage. Obviously, we could change the banner. We could create a banner in something like Canva. We can edit the banner here. We can choose to upload. I'm not going to run through that. I'm assuming you're okay with creating a banner. So design a nice banner that's going to fit well and ideally incorporate some of your I help statement or again, the name of the group in the banner. That's always nice to do. There's no posts in here at all yet. The next thing we want to do is look at adding a description. So we add a cover photo and then we add a description. And this description is just telling people a little bit more about the group. And again, in the listing, when people search for groups, this is what they're going to see. So this is your safe space to get motivation, tips, and guidance on weight loss for women over 50. It just tells them a little bit more. And obviously you would, weight loss. Let's try that again, weight loss. So that's now created an about. And that's what people will see. So you can now see on this about section, it's given me just a little bit of an intro as to what this group is for, what it's about. Now we're going to dive into a lot more of the settings. I'm going to skip over some of them because some of them aren't relevant. Now, what I want you to bear in mind is we're going to set this group up so that it's available for anybody to see, but they have to ask to join. When they click to join, we're going to ask some questions, which gather some data, validates they're the right people. we then get to see their application to join and select to approve or decline it so that we can control who's in the group. And in a similar way, in this group, we're going to be creating posts, but we're going to create it so that other people can create posts as well. But we want to see those posts first before they actually appear. So we're going to set up quite a bit of security and moderation around everything that we do so that we are in full control of what's in our group, who's in our group, and what everybody else sees. So the first thing I'm going to look at is something called group rules. So this is just a list of rules that people have to accept when they want to join the group. So on the left-hand side menu here, I'm going to select group rules. And Facebook's actually really good. When we click get started, it suggests quite a few rules that we can pick from. We can create our own. We can create our own rule and description. So I could here, for example, be saying no one under the age of 18. And then I could describe why I don't want anyone under the age of 18 in here. But to be honest, for now, just to make this really quick, let's just adopt the standard rules that are there. So these little buttons here, if I just click be kind and be courteous, it automatically fills in what Facebook thinks should be in there, and I'm going to create. So I've got a rule. I'm now going to create no hate speech or bullying, no promotions or spam, and the last one, respect everyone's privacy. So there's 4 standard rules that Facebook suggests that you always have in. You can always go and create a custom rule in there as well with a description if you want. But for now, for ease, let's just get it out there with these. And if you want to reorder them, let's just say that you want no promotions and spam right at the top. You can just drag it by dragging the little 6 dots next to any one of these and order them how you want them to be ordered. So they're the group rules that have been created. So next we're going to look at group membership questions. So what that means is when people see the group, they see it listed or we send them the link. When they then click to join, it's going to pop up a series of questions, 3 simple questions. And the way we structure these questions for our purpose is question 1 should all be about validating they are the right person. So if we are targeting 50 plus women who want to lose weight, we should be asking, are you a 50 plus woman? Are you not? Or various other questions. Are you wanting to lose weight? We should be asking questions around qualifying are they the right audience, because for this Facebook group, there's no point having anybody in here who is not the right audience for you, because this is where you're going to nurture people. So we're going to have a audience validation question. We're then going to have another question that asks about opting in to a newsletter so that we can ask for their email address, which we can use for marketing further down the road. And then we're going to have a third question, which also asks them whether they would like a strategy session. Now, some of these people you may have already asked in a DM chat, but it's yet another opportunity to ask people for a strategy session. And don't forget, there are going to be some people who go and search in groups, find your group, and you don't even know they exist yet. They're not even friends with you yet. And they might apply to come into your group. So why not offer up a free strategy session? So let's take a look what that looks like. So again, we're in the admin tools. We're going to go onto the left-hand side. We're going to look at membership questions. Now, the first thing we're going to do is the rules that we've just created, we're going to say that as part of joining, you also have to tick a box to say that you accept the rules. So we're going to turn that on so that anybody who requests access to our group gets asked to accept the group rules. And now we're going to add our 3 questions. So the first question, I might say, are you ... And this is where you would now validate whether they are the right person. Are you a man? In fact, what I'm going to say is, are you ... tick all that apply. So I might have man, woman, wanting to control weight, happy with weight. And you could go on and you could add more options. So at the moment, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to select it as checkboxes. I'm going to ask them to tick all that apply. So this first question now is going to validate, are you a man, a woman, wanted to control weight, or happy with weight? So if we had someone who ticked a man who's happy with their weight, and this group is for women 50 plus who want to master weight loss, clearly they're not our ideal audience, so we would decline their application. Whereas if it's a woman, then they tick woman, and they're wanting to control weight or wanting to lose weight, then obviously we're going to let them in because they're their ideal. So question 1, word it as you need to around your niche, around your group, around your problem statement, your I help statement, so that it makes sense and you are validating. So being very clear on the people that you do want in the group and don't want in the group. So that's question number 1. The second question, rather than it being checkboxes, we're going to make this question a written answer. And what we're going to say here is, would you like to opt in to a free newsletter where I share whatever it is you share, tips, or whatever it is that you want to put. And then click save. In fact, let's just change that. Please share your email address if you would like. There we go. So please share your email address if you would like to opt in to a free newsletter where I share tips and whatever else it is that you want to share. Now, bear in mind, you don't actually have to have the newsletter done yet. In fact, this is all about just trying to get their email address. You may have email marketing set up in the future. This is about starting to build an email list. There are some people who will be quite happy to give you your email address. The final question is then a strategy session. So, would you like a free strategy session to help get you motivated with the right advice to start your weight loss journey? And the two options we're going to put are yes, please, and not right now, thanks. And we're going to save. So we've got our 3 joining questions. The first one qualifies, are they the right target audience? And we give them various options and ask them to tick all that apply. The next one is asking if they want to share their email address to opt into a free newsletter. And again, don't worry at this stage if you've not got your newsletter. This is future marketing stuff. And then the final question is asking them if they'd like a free strategy session. And again, you would make this specific to what you would try and get them to in your strategy session. And the options for them to answer are yes, please, or not right now. They can only pick one of those. So they're your questions that are set up. So there we have it. There's the question. So what we've now got set up are your group rules and we've got questions. Now what we need to do is go in and make sure that we've set everything up so that when people do join, they go into a moderation queue and all of the other main settings in the group are correct. So for this, we're now going to go over to the main settings. So we're going to scroll further down on the left-hand side and we're going to look at group settings. And there is an absolute ton of stuff in here, but we're going to go through it step by step. So this is a place where you can go and you can change the name and description of the group that we've already set up. So we'll start at the top, name and description, your group name and your description. You could also gain access here to some of the settings that we did right at the start with regards to privacy and hiding the group. The next thing you might want to do is look at customizing the address, the link of the group. Now, at the moment, the address is going to be, if you need to share the link with somebody, it's going to be facebook.com/groups/ and then a horrible long number that doesn't mean anything to anyone. So what you might want to do is just customize that link. So for example, weight loss for women over 50. That's already gone. Okay, weight loss advice for women over 50. If I then click save, that is now, I know it's a bit of a long one, but at least it means something a little bit more than just a number. We can ignore group color, badges, and affiliation at this stage. So I'm not going to cover any of that. The next important bit is managing the membership, who can join. So if you have a look at the options, we can have profiles and pages or only profiles. Now, depending on your audience, you might want to select only profiles. Me personally, I've noticed that a lot of new coaches set themselves up a page and sometimes a profile, and pages can join groups as well. So for me, in my niche, it makes sense for me to allow pages and profiles to join my group. But for this purpose, for this women over 50 plus, they're unlikely to have a page. They're more likely to be a profile. So for most people, I would say, for now, go with profiles. So select profiles only. And now this is something that's really, really important. And I can't stress this enough. This is of critical importance. This question here, who can approve membership requests? Anyone in the group or only admins and moderators? In their infinite wisdom, Facebook have defaulted the completely wrong option to this question. So we have just set up some questions for people to join the group. At the moment, when anybody submits a join request, any person in the group sees that and has the ability to let them in. We do not want that. We, as the admin, want to be the only person who can say whether people come into this group or not. We want to review their responses. We want to work out whether we want them in our group to nurture them further. So you must remember to change this default option. Who can approve the membership requests? Change it from anyone in the group and make it so that it's you only, admins and moderators only. If you forget to do that, every single time people join, everyone in your group's going to get an email and you're going to have mayhem. Who is pre-approved to join? Leave that at nobody. So we've now dealt with the whole requesting and who gets to moderate and review those joining requests that come in, and that's now us. So the next thing we're going to look at is posts. So first of all, are we going to allow anonymous posting? What this means is, in some groups, you can have it so that somebody can post, but it hides their name. They don't have to say who they are, and it appears as anonymous rather than exactly who they are. Now, in the early stages, I would say turn this off. I would say people can't post anonymously. When the group gets a lot bigger, you might want to reconsider. If it becomes quite a safe space for people to talk openly about issues, sometimes people can be a little bit tentative about putting their name to the comment, and therefore that you might want to allow them to post anonymously, but not for now. So I would turn this off when you've got a brand new group. So we do not allow anonymous posting. Who can post in the group? The next option we'll look at. Anyone in the group can post. Now I'm going to leave that as the default. I am going to allow anyone to post, but then I'm going to look at this next option, which is the fact that I require approval to their posts. And you may have seen this in other groups that you have submitted posts into. It says that it's gone to the admins for approval. So that's how we're going to set this group up. We're going to allow people to submit a post for approval. And if we like it and we think it's okay, we'll approve it and it will appear. What we're not going to do is allow people to just automatically post without approval. So we're going to moderate posts. So we're going to allow others to post, but we are then going to require approval. It defaults to approval being off, so we're going to go in and we're going to say, no, we want to approve everything, please. The approve edit, we also want to turn on. What that means is if somebody submits a post and we've approved it and then they edit the post, we also want to approve that edit as well. Every time something new is changed or added to our group, we want to see it. We want to say yes or no to it. For the rest of these options, you can just leave them. You can explore them if you wish, but they're not massively important to the way that this group works. You can also specify the different types of post formats. Again, just leave those as default. All of that is good. And now we've finished with most of the settings that we're going to need. So I'm just going to click again just to go into the main part of the group. So what we've now done is we've created the group. We've then gone back in and we've edited it. So we've created group rules. We've created questions. We've configured it so that when somebody asks to join, they have to answer those questions or at least see those questions and submit their responses for us to look at as an admin and approve. We've configured it so that it has to be an admin that approves. We've also then gone on to configure the fact that we're going to allow any members to submit posts for approval. And again, it's just us as an admin that says yes or no to that post and or any other edits. And don't forget, within those settings as well, there was also the ability to go in there and change the name, the title, and also the link that you see, which we did customize. So that's the key part of your Facebook group now set up, now ready to go. So go through those steps, get it all set up as you need to. Look at setting up a banner. Get a nice banner in there. And then I would also look to put in there probably 3 or 4 posts. So at least when you start getting people in there, they're going to see some content. The way that we're going to invite people into this Facebook group is after a conversation that we've had with them on a DM. We're going to select who we want to invite into the group and then send them the link so that when they click the link, they get asked the questions, we see the responses, we decide whether we want them in or not. What I don't want you to do is to use the invite button to invite people in. When you use that invite button, you are almost giving them like a golden ticket. You are saying, come into my group. I won't bother asking you the questions. I want you in here. So when it comes to nurturing clients, we absolutely don't want to do that. Otherwise, they're going to get in without having to answer the questions. So we need to know the link for the group. And that's what we're going to be sending them on DM chats to invite them to apply to join the group, answer the questions, then we decide if we let them in. So that's the first consideration. The second consideration is before we start asking people or inviting people in using the link, we probably need a few people in here. It looks a little bit lonely at the moment. I've only got 1 member. So what I might want to do, and this is the only time that you're going to ever use this blue invite button, you might want to click and invite some of your Facebook friends. So these will be trusted friends, family that you want to invite in. And I would probably give them the heads up beforehand and say, look, I've just set a new group up. I'm just inviting you into the group. It'd be great if you could be in the group. I don't expect you to do anything. This is just to make the group look a little bit more busy so that when I start inviting people in, they're not coming into an empty group. You know, in a couple of weeks, you can probably drop out. You can leave the group. You ideally just want a few people in, sort of 5 to 10 people in your group before you start actually getting prospects that you want to nurture in there. So for that purpose, you would use this blue invite because you don't want your friends and family to have to answer those joining questions. You would click the blue, invite friends, and then you would go down your list of friends and you're just going to tick the 5 to 10 people that you want to invite into your group, send invitations. They'll get the invitation. As soon as they click the link to join the group, they will automatically jump straight into the group without having to answer the questions. So hopefully that makes sense. The blue invite to group is something that you only do if you want to get people in there and skip the questions. So that's just friends and family to get in there initially, to have some people sitting in the group so that when you invite people in the correct way, which is via DM, sending them the link to the group, where they have to answer the questions. Once they've done that, at least there will already be some people in here and they're not joining an empty group. And for the same reason, that's why you also have 3 or 4 posts sitting in this group as well. So go and sort your banner, go and invite some friends and family using that blue button, and then that's the only time you use that blue button. Go and create 3 or 4 posts in your group, just giving away some value or some information, very similar to some of the posts you do in your profile. In another lesson shortly, we're going to be looking at the exact sort of post that you should be creating for your group. But for now, it's just about having something in there so that it's not empty. So that's how to set up your Facebook group the right way for your Facebook content funnel. Now, I know there was quite a few steps there, so you might want to go back and watch this video a few times. If you check on the attachments for this lesson, there's also a checklist where I'll put all of the key points in there so you can tick them to say that you've done them. So that will include sorting out the name, making it private, making it publicly listed, and all of the other steps to do with the various questions, moderation rules. All of that will be there as a checklist so that you can work down that checklist with the video, click by click, and get your Facebook group set up ready for your content funnel.